Hey there, welcome back to the Swim Doctor's office. Today I'm going to be going over something kind of weird. Today I'm going to be going over why it's important when you're learning how to swim to learn from one specific instructor. Now, I'm not saying specifically learn from me. If this stuff is helping you out or someone else out that you know and love, make sure you slap that like button silly. Make sure that you subscribe and you comment. It helps out the channel and it brings a smile to my face. Okay, when finding a good swim instructor, it's always important to look at reviews. If you can, look at reviews of the different instructors or ask someone who's taking classes from the instructor you're learning from. The reason why I say learn from one instructor is because of consistency. Now, different instructors have different ways of coaching and relating to their clients. So pick one out that fits you best. It's okay to switch around different instructors if you're at like a swimming complex or something where there's a ton of different instructors. Maybe ask someone who's taken a class with them before and go with the best one there. Now, from my experience of teaching, I've had to fill in for some of my coworkers, or they've had a few sessions with a different instructor and then they had sessions with me, any sort of that kind of stuff. So what I've heard from a lot of my clients that I teach are that every teacher has a different way of teaching, and some of them relate better to a different person. Now, not to sound conceited or anything, we all pretty much teach the same thing. It's different ways relating and teaching. But when I've taken over for someone else, or I'm teaching someone who had a previous instructor, I've had some people come up to me and tell me specifically that they want to learn just from me because I relate with them better and I teach them in a way that they learn better than what the other teacher taught them. Not saying the other teachers are bad or anything. Everyone that I worked with was really good. It's just a different way of teaching. I've had many years of experience with this and many years of swimming and doing it the correct way. And what I found is a lot of teachers don't put themselves in the student's shoes. So when I'm teaching someone how to swim, what I'll do is, if I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, I'll do it and I'll break it down really slowly in my head while I'm doing the stroke or whatever, and I'll notice all these different little subtleties that I'm doing. And that helps me be able to teach my students better. For instance, I recently learned something with breaststroke in the past couple of years that I never taught before because I didn't think about it. So, for instance, with breaststroke, I noticed that when I'm doing breaststroke, my legs, when they come in and they go out, I don't have my toes pointed forward. I have them more, if this is my foot, instead of having my toes pointed like this, I have my feet like this. Now that sounds counterproductive, but that's actually how your feet are gonna move through the water smoother. So instead of when I'm doing the breaststroke kick, I don't have my toes pointed like this. I'm not going in, out, and then together like that. I have my feet like this when I start. So I go in, and then I come out, and when I come together, my toes start pointing that way. I get a little bit of that extra push into the breaststroke kick. Now, I didn't notice that before, but I noticed it when I was trying to teach a student how to swim, and they were having a really hard time. They were doing the stroke and it looked good, but for some reason they just were not moving forward. And I found out that's why. A lot of my other clients who were adults and they've taken classes from someone else before, I've had them come up to me and tell me that I was able to teach them faster than how they learned with another instructor. I've even covered for someone else, or I've taught someone who was in a different instructor's class. And for some reason, I don't know who the instructor was, but they were pushing them way too fast. So they didn't have the kicking correctly, they didn't have the arms correctly, they didn't have floating correctly, and they were already working on the breathing. So when I'm teaching a new adult student how to swim, I always make them start out with the basics, even if, you know, they kind of roll their eyes and they're like, oh, I already know how to do that. I would say about 80% of the time, that's when I would catch that they weren't doing something correctly, and we need to go back to square one and come back to the swim doctor's office for more cures.